Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sefer Hamitzvot for today. Today is one mitzvah, a very fundamental mitzvah. And what's exciting for me is that as I'm teaching the mitzvah, I am actually keeping the mitzvah. So today's mitzvah is the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, which is to teach Torah and to learn Torah. And the pasuk that this is based on, there are a couple of words that we say every day in Shema, which is Vishinantam Livanecha, which is loosely translated as you should teach your children. Okay, so a few things on this. First of all, to emphasize, the mitzvah, the first part, kind of the main part of the mitzvah, is to teach Torah, to actually teach Torah. There's a mitzvah, not just to learn Torah, but to teach Torah. Who are you obligated to teach Torah to? So technically, your sons. Now, why does it say Vishinantam Livanecha? And there's other parts of the Torah where it says you should learn Torah with the typical word of lamad, but Vishinantam Livanecha comes from the word sharp. So not only should you teach Torah, but it should be sharp, it should be clear, it should be abundantly clear, you should really understand and grasp the concept. Right? Sometimes I'm very often like this. Like I'll know a little bit about a topic, so I'll feel comfortable joining a conversation, about anything. But then when you really know something, that's when you could debate. That's when you could really talk to somebody about it. So Torah, obviously, do what you can, but as much as possible, the idea is that it should really be etched. We should really, really, really learn it properly, so we really get it. Okay, now you teach your sons. The idea of teaching daughters is, of course, something that you should do and should be done. However, it's not the biblical commandment in the sense because in general, men and women, girls and boys, have different barometers of what they need to do in terms of their Torah study. So a man is obligated to study a certain amount of fixed time of Torah every single day. A woman is commanded to learn Torah, but it's not about a fixed time every day. It's about just generally, she has to make sure to know certain parts of the Torah that apply to her. And of course, the more the merrier, but in terms of your biblical mandate. Because of that, a father is told you have to teach your son because this is something he has to do every day. Women have to learn, girls have to learn what they need in order to observe Torah in general. But definitely we go with the times in the sense of nowadays, everyone's learning, right, in the world. Boys, girls, everybody's learning. So in general, if we're in a world of academia and a world where we're not in the field all day, but we're sitting and learning and, pretty amazing advancement that we have in this day and age. But if you're learning about everything else in the world, it goes without saying that you should be just as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable, just from a wisdom perspective of what Torah is teaching. So it's definitely looked at as a critical part of the way you educate your girls as well. And then we also know that it's referring to teaching your students. And it says multiple times in the Torah and the Talmud that your students, anyone who teaches Torah to anybody, those people are not just their students, they're considered like their children. That's how imperative and that's how critical your teaching of Torah is to them, that they're considered your children. Your students are your children. And then we'll take it a next step, is that really, really, we are all obligated, and this goes back to what we were saying before about how we care about every Jew, we are obligated to teach and make sure every single Jew in the world is learning Torah. So what's amazing about this part, about teaching Torah, this is a biblical commandment, okay? We're learning one of the 613 mitzvot. So it's talking to everyone. It's not just talking to the person who got smicha or this one who, has a certain amount of knowledge, or they passed this course or they passed that course, or they're a rebbitzin or a rabbi. Every single Jew over the age of bar and bas mitzvah is obligated to do this mitzvah of teaching Torah, which I teach. I don't know a lot. I barely know anything. I just picked up a chumash for the first time a week ago. I didn't go to yeshiva, etc., etc. So here's where we'll use the Rebbe's very famous line when he came to the shores of America. If you know Aleph, teach Aleph. In other words, there is always something that you know, even if it's just the letter Aleph, and there will always be someone who knows less than you. Find somebody who does not know the letter Aleph and teach them Aleph. And then go ahead and learn Beis and teach them Beis. And it could be somebody is more knowledgeable than you. But like it also says in Ethics of Our Fathers, I learn from my students as well. In other words, we all have to be open to learning from each other. But every single one of us has to make a point. This is a biblical commandment to teach in one capacity or another. There is endless amount of material to teach. So I even just today, let's honor today's mitzvah. Find somebody, share something. Even just the simple idea that one of the 613 mitzvahs is actually number 11 is to teach Torah. And of course, a part of that, but we spoke about the teaching part first because that is what the essential mitzvah is. The mitzvah is not learn and teach. The mitzvah is teach and learn. Because first of all, if you don't learn, then you can't teach, right? If I don't know anything, then I can't teach. And that's why even if you know Aleph, go ahead and learn more, and then you'll be able to teach more. But also because the way we look at Torah learning is not just a personal endeavor, but one that is we're obligated to share with the whole world. There are tons and tons and tons of halachos and laws on Talmud Torah. That's what the whoever's learning the 3 chapters of Rambam are learning today. The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, so many, all the different various, there's many books of Jewish law cover. There's a lot of interesting details. It's not just learn Torah. There's details of what the halachas, what the laws are. I'll talk about one. So there's an idea, obviously, a difference between a katan or someone who's obligated. Someone who's obligated is over the age of bar bas mitzvah. That's what happens. You're now obligated in the commandments. Now you have to keep them. Before that, they're called a katan, which means a small one. So there's no obligation on them to do any of the mitzvahs. They're not required to. However, there's something called chinuch. Chinuch means education, right? If you're expecting someone to start keeping the mitzvahs the age that, the second they turn 13, well, how are they supposed to? So you educate them from the moment they grow up. And not only so that they have the tools, but also they'll hopefully have the love and et cetera. And it's a big deal. We take this seriously, right? For the sake of chinuch, for the sake of education, we do a lot with our children, and the younger, the better. It's a very important thing. Where does this come into play with teaching Torah? That even though a child is not obligated in learning Torah, so you would think there would be a difference between teaching Torah to a little kid and teaching Torah to a teenager or your grown child. There's not, because the mitzvah is on you to teach. It doesn't say who to teach to. The mitzvah is on you to teach. So that's the same mitzvah to teach your 1-year-old as it is to teach your 15-year-old. So I thought that was one interesting thing I wanted to point out. Again, if I could encourage you to teach one person one tiny piece of Torah, I know that will definitely make God proud, and you'll be doing a mitzvah. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day. Thank you, Mitch.